Hey everyone, Doug Jenkins with the Findlay-Hancock County Chamber of Commerce. We are working at home today, and that's what the subject of this video is how you can best work from home. You can tell I'm home because there's a sign right above me that says home, which I wouldn't have in my office. So we're all getting used to this new reality as we deal with the COVID-19 impact. Dr. Elke Burnside is joining me from the University of Findlay. Well, not from the University of Findlay. You're working from home as well, but you know a little bit about working from home and some best practices. So probably a good idea to review those these days.
Yes, definitely.
Well, let's get into it. First of all, we were just talking before we started recording here, and you do a lot of online teaching, which we know a lot of our teachers are getting a crash course in that right now. But as such, you do a lot of teaching from home, so you know these best practices. What are some of the things that people need to know right off the bat when it comes to working from home?
Yeah, working from home can be fun. Everybody thinks, oh, I'll get to be in my pajamas all day. It'll be great. But the difficulty thing is after maybe a day of that, being at home and working can be hard to separate that. You know, we need that mental and kind of physical rest. And so it can be difficult sometimes to have them all blended together. So there's lots of things, and these are common tips that you'll find if you do any kind of Googling about working from home online. There's some great resources out there. The first one is have a routine. Absolutely, 100%. It's really easy to feel like it's kind of like a vacation and you can get up and work whenever you want to, but the most important thing is to have a routine. Maybe get up half an hour later than you used to because now you don't have to drive, that's fine. But definitely you'll get up and shower. And sometimes people are like, well, no, duh. But sometimes when we're at home, we have a tendency to just be like, whatever, it's fine. And for myself, right? So it's me and my cat. There's nobody else here. So that just having that regular routine of saying, I'm still going to get up. I'm going to get up at a set time. I'm going to have my breakfast, coffee, tea, whatever. You know, maybe you can make it a little more leisurely. That's nice, but definitely having that routine. And so then carrying that routine throughout your day. Sometimes people have a tendency to say, oh, well, then I can have my desk and my TV together and maybe get to binge watch while I work a little bit. Doing that distracted kind of work will actually be bad for you in the long run. Make sure that you're setting up in a space that is separate from, if you can. Sometimes you can't. Having that space, having that separation is also another tip that you want to have. And then that routine of taking a physical break from your laptop or your desk work area for lunch is very important, at least half an hour. And then also, just like we do at work, if you're in your office and you're sitting down for 3 hours, you probably should have gotten up and walked around, take a little stretch. Sometimes I have the time, I'm like, okay, well, I will get up here and go wash a few dishes and then come back and work. And sometimes that physical break is good there too. So routine, making sure that your workspace is a work-only space, which can be difficult, right? So especially if you're sharing with kids and you're homeschooling and you need to be accessible for them, or all the different needs that you have to do, but trying to make that work-only space and then taking a break from it, just like you would in the office. If you would take a coffee break, take a coffee break. Don't feel like you have to be chained to the workspace all the time.
I think you raised a lot of interesting points. I've been working from home all day today, and I sat down here at the kitchen island at probably 8 o'clock or so, and then I looked up and suddenly it's noon, and I realized I've been sitting on a stool at the kitchen island for a long time and hadn't probably taken the normal breaks that I normally would.
Right, and maybe 1 or 2 days of that is okay, but over time, it's definitely, if we're going to be here till April 3rd, I think is the earliest I've heard, maybe a little bit longer than that, that's a couple of weeks, and you definitely, you still need that, like I said, that mental break that we would usually take if we would go to a colleague's office or if we would walk across campus or to a different part of the building. Those kinds of things are built in, and those kinds of things are built in at school for students. So I think sometimes when we talk about working from home, we forget some now kids are going to be there. They need those little physical breaks as well too. Don't expect them to sit at a desk for 3 hours. If you wouldn't do it, they probably definitely can't do it. So that physical break I think is really important.
Absolutely. But the other component of that, you are at home and you do have those home chores. So I can get up, I can walk over that direction and towards the laundry room and think, stuff that needs to get taken care of in there. Is it okay to try and mix in some home chores when you're up taking a break, or is it maybe better to push
Yeah.
it off?
I think that really depends on your job. My job as an instructor, as a professor, is very self-paced anyway.
Mhm.
If you're an hourly employee and I think they call them non-exempt usually, there might be some problems there depending on your company's policy or whatever. So you definitely want to make sure that's clear. But if you're going to get up and have a coffee break, if you pass by the laundry and you're like, you know what, I'm going to set a minute timer on my phone, just fold laundry for 2 minutes and then go back. That's the mental break. Again, we have these cognitive limitations to how much we can concentrate on something without it just starting to kind of slip away. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But again, you would want to know your company policy for sure.
At the same time, we are, in an age where this is a lot more doable than it was maybe even 5 years ago. A lot of people are learning a lot about web conference calls this week, that's for sure, and we'll be
Yes.
learning more about it. Um, Silver lining, there are some learning opportunities here on how to do some things remotely that maybe we didn't think we could do before.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. A lot of the conversations that I've been following in social media and different things, and I have a tip for social media here in a second, are talking about, a lot of these accommodations have been requested for people with disabilities and they've been denied in the past. And so now that question is going to have to come up and say, hey, if the entire world can make it work, why can't I have, I think that there will be some interesting changes because of this situation. And they will be positive changes. I think they could be great.
I think you're right on that. Well, you brought up social media.
Yes.
Some of us have to use it for work, others don't as much. It's on our phones, it's
Right.
right there on the
Right.
screen. We're at home. It can be easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah, and I would definitely say, there's a kind of a plus and a minus. Again, as an instructor, there's a lot of really great online groups happening right now in different spaces, Twitter, Facebook, different things like that. And there's a lot of support, especially as parents start to homeschool, doing those kinds of things. It's interesting to think about that. But you do want to monitor how much you're consuming, just like you would in the workday, just like you should kind of on a normal day anyway. Sometimes your mental health can deteriorate if you obsessively check social media too much, and there's tons of studies out there talking about that with different contradicting responses there. But I would definitely say, when you're working from home, part of that keeping your workspace separate from your private space is, limiting social media checking to those 2-minute, 3-minute coffee breaks, and then saying, okay, I definitely, when I work from home, I leave my phone actually in the other room and leave it there until I'm ready. I'm like, okay, I made a major breakthrough on this project. I can relax a little bit, or I finished grading this set of papers. I need like a half an hour break, and then I'll go into the other room and I'll interact there. But having those, like I said, it really honestly comes back to routine and just making specific choices about what works for you and how to do that. I also know some people need to be connected on social media and have their phones going so that they can be in touch with their families who are far away. I know mine are across the country. We're not anywhere close to each other. And so we like to be able to be in touch right now. But again, monitor that and make sure that you're not spending too much time, but use it, again, when you're taking those breaks. Those are good ways to do that.
All good advice. Well, Dr. Burnside, we appreciate you joining us. Are there any online resources for people who are maybe having a go at this for the first time where they can learn a little bit more about this?
About working from home, like I said, honestly, this is all stuff that I've just learned over my time from working from home. I like I said, I know you can Google,
Mhm.
tips for working from home. I would look for, reputable ones from like mental health organizations or something like that. I know there are also some funny memes going on out there, but the tips of having a routine, getting up, making sure you're doing your physical exercise, even if you can't go to the gym, run, taking a run or taking a walk if the weather makes it possible. All of that kind of stuff will be helpful for you. But I think the best online resources are going to be from mental health organizations right now. I know NAMI and a couple other places in this area have information out there.
All right, Dr. Burnside, thank you for joining us. Of course, we're going to be doing a series of videos like this throughout the coming weeks, trying to help you work from home, help your business continue to do its business as we work through the COVID-19 issue. And we'll have more Findlay Hancock County Chamber of Commerce.